Hey guys, Josh here, and we're now less than 3 months away from the release of Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar for Steam, Switch, and Switch 2. While we're waiting, I've been playing a lot of the original game, Harvest Moon Grand Bazaar, for the Nintendo DS, having an amazing time with that version as it is, but I would love to share with you 10 ways in which I think the new game will make the experience even better. If you've been on this channel before, you know how I've been so unbelievably excited for this game since its very first teaser in 2023. And this has been my favorite game series ever since I played Harvest Moon 64 about 25 years ago. I would have never imagined that one day I would be here on the internet talking about these games as my job, and even less that Marvelous would be sponsoring this video. But they are, and I will have a link in the description if you'd like to pre-order the game. Thank you so much to Marvelous for supporting the channel, and all of you who have been enjoying my videos for the last 5 years now. While I didn't get to play Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar quite yet, I had the chance to watch 1 hour of gameplay footage, and I noticed tons of interesting details that I will include throughout this video. But before we get into it, I think that Grand Bazaar will be the entry point into the series for a lot of people, and some of you might be wondering, what is Story of Seasons? What is Harvest Moon? What's happening? So the original farming simulation game series Bokujo Monogatari started in Japan on the Super Famicom in 1995. The Western release was outsourced to a company called Natsume, who titled the game Harvest Moon. The franchise continued under that same name until about a decade ago, when Marvelous started doing the worldwide publishing by themselves, and they changed the English name to Story of Seasons. This change is only in name, so any Harvest Moon game up to A New Beginning on the 3DS is actually part of that Story of Seasons or Bokujo Monogatari series, which pioneered the farming sim genre. Now that we're all on the same page, let's dive into these improvements that Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar will bring. Obviously, with the original game releasing on the Nintendo DS over 15 years ago, bringing up the graphics is like a free square on a bingo card, but the visuals are superior, even compared to more recent entries in the series. The environments are more detailed than ever, the lighting and colors are great. You can see all of these things clearly, but if you take a closer look, you can see how much attention they paid to the smaller details. For example, in the original, the clock tower was broken. I guess it was always stuck on 3 p.m. But here, it actually moves and keeps up with the correct in-game time. You can see little details like this everywhere, but what stands out to me the most actually is how the different seasons and weather effects look. You can see the wind gusts on the windy days, the grass and the trees swaying. If there's a thunderstorm, your character is using their hand to protect their eyes. Those flags are fighting for their life, and you can truly feel that there's a big storm going on. A fun detail I would like to point out when there's a storm, which was in the original as well, but if you stop moving, you slowly get pushed by the wind. I'm glad to see that they kept that in, and the brand new glider, which will facilitate our exploration of Zephyr Town, will also be affected by the strength and direction of the wind. Weather is not only visual in Grand Bazaar, it affects the gameplay as well, like the speed at which your windmills are processing materials, and something new is that we will be able to put windscreens around our crops in order to protect them from bad weather. We will get to do the same to protect our beehives and mushroom logs, which are things we didn't even have in the original. As you can see, they are adding a lot of new content and mechanics. In the past, Marvelous has done remakes. We had Friends of Mineral Town, A Wonderful Life, and with those we did get some new things, but they stayed fairly close to the original work. Remakes can be a bit tricky for newcomers, as yes, they often introduce quality of life features that were missing from the old games, but they typically don't offer as much content as completely new releases. With this one, however, they don't call it a remake, but rather a new game inspired by Grand Bazaar. So even though core mechanics and characters are the same, we can expect more additions and changes, making it enjoyable for those who have nostalgia for the original, as well as first-time players. One of these major additions we'll get to enjoy is voice acting. We are very well used to our character yelling, grunting, "Hey, yeah, go!" But for the first time ever in the series, we will have proper, fully voiced lines for the main story and romance scenarios.
I hope I was able to explain it in a way that made it seem somewhat interesting, at least.
I quite like the original cast of characters from Grand Bazaar, even though their dialogue was so repetitive on the DS. We get it, Angelo, you are sleepy every single day, but somehow everyone still managed to have so much charm and the various cutscenes and scenarios were interesting. Now, these characters will be brought to life with more varied dialogue, voice acting, and on top of that, new character portraits and animated 3D models. It will make it easier to get attached to everyone, but that might make it more difficult to choose who to romance. Especially since there will be two new love interests, Arata and Diana, which I know a lot of you already have their eyes on. And like in the last few Story of Seasons games, your choice will not be restricted by gender. Which brings me to character creation. In the original, you could either play as this boy or this girl. You would choose your name and birthday, but that was it. Now we will get to create our own character, choose their skin color, hairstyle, facial features, clothes, voice. So there will be a lot more customization, and as we play, we will unlock more. For example, through Karina, who will be selling clothes and accessories at the bazaar. If you played Pioneers of Olive Town, you recognize her, and she's not the only familiar face. There is Ronaldo, who first appeared in Save the Homeland, Charles from Hero of Leaf Valley, Rebecca from A New Beginning, and one thing that these characters have in common is that they all have a stall at the bazaar. In the original game, there were a few different stalls to buy seeds, one to wrap gifts, one for farm animals and pets, some to upgrade your farm, upgrade your storage, among a few others. As you reached certain sales milestones at the bazaar, it would slowly develop and more shops would open. In the new Grand Bazaar, Karina will be selling clothes, Charles is hinting at a recycling shop, and Rebecca will be selling decor for our stall. But before we can access all of those, we will first have to complete requests, as these merchants won't necessarily just set up shop by themselves. This request system is new, we will see it outside of the bazaar as well, with villagers asking for certain things, and it should give us more goals to work toward. One last stall I would like to talk about very quickly is from Felix the Mayor. He had the most exciting one in the original as he was selling tools. He is now stepping it up with special abilities such as new fishing techniques, the power to sow multiple seeds at once, same for harvesting, which looks so satisfying, and I'm looking forward to playing with all of these. I've not even talked yet about how the bazaar mechanics actually work, but it is my favorite thing about this game. Basically, instead of simply putting everything in a shipping bin daily, you save up all of your products throughout the week, and on Saturday from 10 AM to 7 PM, the bazaar is open, you put your items for sale, ring a bell to attract customers, and when they want to buy something, you just go in front of the item, and if they say that they want 3, then you press the action button 3 times. It is very simple, but it creates such a fun loop every week. You always have the next bazaar to look forward to, you make a ton of money at once, you then spend some or maybe all of it at the different shops before the bazaar closes at the end of the day, and the cycle repeats. I find that in so many farming games, days can end up feeling the same. That is why I think festivals or special days are super important in order to break the monotony, and the weekly bazaar manages to do that so well. I could talk about the bazaar forever, honestly it's amazing as it is in the original game, but let's go over how it's going to be made even more interesting in this new one. First, like I said earlier, Rebecca will be selling bazaar decor, so we'll have things like counters, signs, tents, and these will allow us to decorate, they will look good, yes, but they will also give us buffs, so you could have a counter increasing the price of your items, some other decor increasing their freshness or their quality, and that should add another layer to running our little shop. There will also be things like seasonal trends incentivizing us to sell a variety of products throughout the year. Overall, the gameplay here just looks so smooth and fun, and one welcome change is that as we're selling, we will be able to quickly restock without having to stop and open the inventory menu every time. I will go over more quality of life features later, but there is quite a bit being added to the bazaar mechanic, and I can't not take the time to shout out the nature sprites. If you perform well enough, these guys will step in to give your sales a little boost, but they're also going to be helpful outside of the bazaar, as giving them items like forageables, bugs, and honey will increase the quality level of these product types. And these sprites, you'll find them around the world. They could be hanging around not too far from your farm, or even on rooftops, which won't be out of reach thanks to our glider. Exploring Zephyr Town has always been fun thanks to these barrels to jump on, the double jumps we could do, and all of the shortcuts to find, but it looks even better here as we will get to glide from one place to the next, and there will be more places to go to. The original map was a bit small, there was our farm, a little mountain road connecting it to the town, 2 little areas for the town, the bazaar, and that was most of it. In Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, they're adding a whole new mountain area which will be accessible next to the yellow windmill, and that's where we'll find lots of forageables, the mushroom logs, as well as this beautiful view of the region. Of course, there will be fishing and bug catching to do there as well, and many resources to find and forage year-round. In the original, ores could only be found in winter, which made it a little bit tricky to upgrade your tools, but now we will have them in all seasons, and gathering them will be done with our hatchet, which on one side is an axe, on the other side a hammer, making it a convenient 2-in-1 tool. This brings me to the quality of life features. We'll have separate hotbars for tools and items. Our storage will be easily accessible from various locations. We'll have options to sort and organize our stuff. We'll see where villagers are on the map, and the trigger buttons will be used to conveniently greet them for some fast friendship points, or even to herd animals with our bell, so a lot of these little details will be there to make the experience smoother. I could keep going, there is so much to say, but let's wrap things up with the last few quick noteworthy additions. There's going to be a wider variety of farm animals like alpacas. Here's a glimpse at the training minigame for the horse derby. There will be one in summer and a different one in winter. Training our pets so they can herd more animals will now be done through this minigame. Instead of just throwing toys at them, some of the food will give us buffs like higher maximum stamina for a limited period of time, or even a faster running speed, which I know will be useful when trying to make it in time for the bazaar on Saturdays. Let me know what you are the most excited for, but these are some of the improvements and new features that Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar will bring us. Thanks again to Marvelous for sponsoring this video. Feel free to pre-order using the link in the description if you have not already. I cannot wait to play and experience this game with all of you. I have been streaming the DS1 pretty frequently. I have a playlist of that if you want a little taste of Zephyr Town while we're waiting. Leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.